That end, we welcome the strong cooperation in security matters with the United States. I'm happy to announce that Ghana has accepted the invitation of the United States to join the Atlantic Basin Cooperation as a founding member. Ghana believes that such cooperation will provide a platform to enhance cooperation to develop shared approaches to Atlantic Ocean issues and build on shared capacities and experiences for the benefit of the Atlantic Ocean region. As a coastal country bordering the Atlantic Ocean, Ghana recognizes that no country alone can solve the cross-boundary challenges in the Atlantic Ocean, ranging from maritime security to environmental degradation. Ghana therefore welcomes and commits to exploring the numerous opportunities offered by this notable initiative on Atlantic cooperation. I wish to assure you, madam, that the Republic of Ghana will continue to collaborate with the United States of America at the bilateral and multilateral level in finding solutions to challenges such as widespread poverty, irregular migration, insecurity, and human rights violations, including discrimination against women, terrorism and violent extremism, human and drug trafficking, piracy, as well as climate change and its attendant impact on the environment and livelihoods.
You heard the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Meanwhile, the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, in response to President Akufo-Addo's statement, noted the President Biden's administration's readiness to support Ghana in all spheres in the maritime industry. She further applauded President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's vision and effort to organize the Year of Return, making Ghana a home for all Africans. The Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris, at a press briefing yesterday, answered a question posed by the Jubilee House correspondent for Omanfm, Boateng, on why, in recent times, a demand has been placed on Africa to go green at a time Africa could exploit its abundant natural resources to finance its developmental agenda. The question also asked Vice President Kamala Harris if she was disappointed about the behavior and failure of wealthy nations of the world to honor the commitment of making available $100 billion annually to the poorer countries of this world to assist them in the fight against climate change. Let's listen to the question posed by Nanesi Boateng, Jubilee House correspondent for Omanfm, and the answers made by Vice President Kamala Harris.
Countries, great and small, are feeling the bends of its impact as we speak. Africa is said to be the least contributor to this phenomenon, and that is less than 4% of global volumes of carbon emissions. Now, the demand is now for Africa to go green and literally abandon the exploitation of the abundant natural resources which the continent has been blessed with, and the resources which the continent needs to finance her development. My question: do you believe this call is fair? And also, are you disappointed by the failure of worthy nations of the world to honor their commitment of making available $100 billion annually to the poorer countries of this world to assist them in the fight against climate change? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. So I'll start with this. I don't think that anyone would deny that the globe is facing a climate crisis, and that is a fact. The last time I saw Mr. President, we were actually, the last time we were on the same continent was when you and I were both at the Munich Security Conference. And when I was on stage, a topic came up, at which point I raised exactly the point of your question, which is that there are certain nations that have been the biggest contributors to emissions, and there are other nations who have paid the biggest price. And that we, as global leaders, must recognize the disparity that exists there and address those disparities. So when I think about the United States' role to that end, part of the work that our administration has been doing is addressing what we must do as an imperative to reduce our global emissions. We, during our administration, the Biden-Harris administration, take great pride in accomplishing a significant step toward that end, where we have dedicated $370 billion to the climate crisis, with a great deal of that directed at what we can do to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So that is an important step as we go forward. But it is critically important that as global leaders, we all speak truth about the disparities and effect, and that we address those disparities. And part of my trip here is actually to also recognize the opportunities then that exist in this transition to what we call a clean energy economy, a green economy. And the opportunities that exist for American private interests and the American government to also share in Africa's leadership on this, in terms of helping to contribute the resources to what are very innovative practices that are occurring here on the continent, some of which I will be highlighting during this trip. There is no question to the last point that you raised, that work needs to be done in terms of a commitment that was previously made. My administration has made a request of, I believe it's $11 billion for Congress to make a step toward that previous commitment, and we are waiting for Congress to do its work.
So that was my question posed to the Vice President Kamala Harris on green shipping, and followed to that question was her answer. If you just join us, you're listening to Maritime and Port News. Now let's move to some other stories. The Spanish government has tightened its rules around ship-to-ship oil transfers after an uptick in the activity along its coastline. Oil tankers seeking to carry out operations off the Mediterranean and Atlantic shores, even outside territorial waters, will have to seek authorization from the closest Spanish port captaincy, according to a new rule due to come into force 20 days after it was published on March 22nd. Boats seeking to service these tankers loaded with crude oil, refined product, or other chemicals will also have to request specific authorization, as the rule stated. Fuel trading has been complicated by the group of 7 industrialized nations' imposition of a price cap on Russian oil in December, and separate European Union measures to prohibit the import of Russian crude oil product. As a result, ship-to-ship operations have become more common, but industry sources say they are also becoming an increasing safety concern. Spanish authorities have intercepted in recent weeks several oil tankers suspected of spilling oil into the Mediterranean near Barcelona and off the Canary Islands. On this note, to wrap up this morning's edition of Maritime and Port News, Maritime and Port News is proudly sponsored by the Ghana Shippers Authority. They provide you with the best in all your shipping solutions. You can contact them at the Shippers House in Accra. My name is Nanesi Boateng. For more Maritime and Port News, follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Nanesi Boateng. My producer is Kwekwa Boateng. Have a great and pleasant day.
Ghana Shippers Authority